Welcome back to my channel, and I am very excited to film this video where we talk about, in my opinion and experience, what it takes to be an elite Division I athlete. Now, if you're new here, my name is Gianna Lawson. You can call me G if you would like. That is actually my athlete name. So when you see me calling myself G, that's where I get that from. I am currently a Division I student athlete at San Jose State University, and I play volleyball. I started my career, however, at the University of Portland, also playing volleyball, and transferred after the first semester of my sophomore year in college, and am now a diehard Spartan. Anyways, so let me give you just a little bit more background on me, and let me explain some of my qualifications as to why I do think and believe that I'm qualified to have this conversation. I am giving you these qualifications not because I feel like I have to prove or validate myself, but just so you know where I'm coming from and that I'm not just someone running off at the mouth, because I don't like that. And I want you to know that's not what I'm doing. Anyways, at the end of this semester, I will have played under 3 different head coaches at the Division I level. I have played at 2 completely different levels of Division I collegiate experience, one that's semi-close to like big Power 5, and one that is like cusp Power 5, which is the school that I'm at now, San Jose State, and that is in a completely different community. Not only that, I am a late bloomer in my sport, so I had to do a lot of, I don't really consider it a lot, but I had to do a lot of work to get where I am. And I don't really think many people thought that I would, but I always knew that I would, because this was a dream God placed in my heart. So there wasn't gonna be no not getting there. There wasn't gonna be no not getting there. And yeah, I am a devout follower of Christ, and we'll get into why that relates as we move on. But without further ado, let me tell you the one thing I believe that separates the elite from the Okay, not like that, but that separates the elite athlete from the regular athlete. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. The one thing, in my opinion, that separates elite athletes from regular athletes is discipline. And you're probably like, knock, knock. We already knew that. And I'm sure you did, because discipline is a very prominent concept in athlete culture. But you would be surprised to find out that it is not a very prominent lifestyle practice in athlete culture. And that is why I know discipline separates the elite from the athletes, because it takes one to know one, baby, okay? Now, how did I come to this realization that there is a difference between the elite and the just regular athletes? Because if you're looking from the outside in, which most people are, because it is a very rare experience to be a Division I athlete, which is true, but I also feel like it's not true, because once you become one, you feel like everybody's a D1 athlete. I digress. But how did I come to this realization that most people basically aren't disciplined, and that's why they're not elite? So, if you didn't know, I am also a part of this ministry on campus, and the name of it is called Up. The purpose of this ministry is to help guide athletes to living out their God-intended design. So, through this ministry, I have met hundreds of different athletes, both from San Jose and Santa Clara University, that compete at the D1 level. And I've got to see and experience and understand the different kinds of mindsets and priorities that they have. And even though we didn't have something like this at the University of Portland, just being a D1 athlete allows you the exposure to the undergirding mindset of the typical Division I athlete. And in this space at Called Up, we are around a lot of adults who don't do what we do. Like, they might work out, but they haven't or currently do not participate in Division I athletics. So therefore, they view what we do as completely far left from what it is that they do, because the Division I athlete life requires a lot out of you. It does. I think the grind is a good and accurate way to describe it. Division I athlete life is a grind, baby. It takes a lot. But just because you're grinding doesn't mean you're grinding and you're disciplined and you're doing everything to the best of your ability. Before I finish my story, let me give you the definition of discipline so that you can understand where I'm coming from as I explain the rest of my exposure experience at Called Up. So, I don't know where I got this definition from. I'll probably put it on the screen if I find it. But this dictionary defines discipline as training that corrects, molds, or perfects the mental faculties or moral character. Now, back to the story. So, when I am at Called Up, because we have family dinners every Monday night, if you're a San Jose or Santa Clara student athlete, when we start school up again, you should come. Anyways, but we have dinners every Monday night, and we typically have a pastor or a speaker or a former Division I athlete come in and talk to us about their personal experience or relationship with God. And sometimes we have staff like Mama Kay and Clay come in and talk to us, right? And they would always rave, and I mean rave, about how disciplined we are. And I would be like, no, we not. Like, most of us, no, we not. Because I'm thinking to myself, y'all are only looking on the outside in. Like, we might have a chatty Cathy conversation with you about what we're going through, but you're not really seeing what we do in our personal lives. And so they would go on to describe how it is so impressive that we do our homework, take exams, go to class, go to practice, go to weights, and like go to sleep. Basically, they were like, we are so impressed with your everyday routine and the fact that you fulfill your responsibilities as a Division I athlete. You guys are so disciplined. And I was like, mind there? That does not equate to discipline. Fulfilling the responsibilities that are set before you is this little thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I don't know if you ever performed it. It's called obedience. Yeah, it's not discipline. Okay? Fulfilling your responsibilities is not an act of discipline. It's an act of obedience. And I was just baffled that these people that I love dearly were so convinced that all of us were so disciplined, because I was like, hold up, have you met Sally Susie B. Hansen? Do you see what she does every day? Like, you know what I'm saying? And this isn't to come at anybody, but just to make it known that not all athletes are trying to be elite. Like, and you don't really necessarily have to be with the way that Division I athlete life is set up, because it looks like we are, because we do something that most people don't, and we do it on a consistent everyday basis. So I had this conversation, and then I went and I talked to my mom, basically said to her what I just said to you. They're like, you guys are so disciplined. I'm like, no, no, 90% of us are not disciplined. We are just doing what is required of us. We are being obedient, because let's tell the truth and shame the devil. If we didn't go to class, come to weights, or go to practice, we would get kicked off the team. That ain't got jack darn Jimmy dang crap to do with being disciplined. Nothing.
Hello, editing me here. I would just like to make it known that my emphatic exclamatory tone and all of my hand slapping expressions are coming from a place of pure passion and not judgment. Now, with that being said, let's get back to these truth bombs.
So, as I gave you the definition earlier that I really liked of discipline, which is a training that corrects, molds, or perfects the mental faculties or moral character of somebody, That definition really does tell you what it takes to be disciplined, and most people aren't doing that in general. So let alone Division I athletes that aren't doing that, because it's not fun. And this is where my faith comes into play, because training that corrects, molds, or perfects the mental faculties and or moral character of somebody is literally like the commitment that it takes to walk and have faith with God. It takes all of that every single day of your dang life to walk with. That's what people mean when they say pick up your cross and carry it. That's what people mean when they say die to your flesh, because it's not fun all the time, but it is so productive. That's a word that we like to use. It is so fruitful. It is so beneficial because one, it gives you perspective. It allows you to see life from a bird's eye view when you're looking at your life, the lives of those around you, and all these other things. And it allows you to live from a place of introspection and what is the word I'm looking for? Like individual experience, and it puts that at priority. And so having that bird's eye view perspective, like from the out looking in, big picture, really allows you to develop a routine and a ritual that is filled and instilled and driven by discipline. And so that's why I bring my faith up, because if it weren't for my faith, I wouldn't have come into college with the idea, with the dream, with the perspective and the goal to be a national champion, which there and by helped me to put all of the things that I'm doing into perspective, that all of this is leading up to this one goal. And if all of what I'm doing doesn't match the level of winning that I want to achieve or the level of thing that I want to achieve, I'm not gonna get there. Yeah, so basically my faith has been principal in allowing me to achieve discipline, because walking with God requires a commitment to do what is required of you, regardless of your emotions, desires, and preferences. And that's what I wrote down as my self-definition of discipline, coming from an athlete perspective and from a person perspective, and a person of faith at that. Those words to me make the most sense when it comes to defining discipline, and it is simplistic so that you can understand it and we all can understand it. And if you want to be disciplined, you can take those words and use them and work from them. Learn how to shape your life, your practice, your commitment to your craft in such a fashion. So I will read it one more time for you. Discipline is a commitment to do what is required of you, regardless of your emotions, desires, or preferences. And discipline is dying to yourself. And I think it is pretty obvious that the reason most athletes are just athletes and not elite athletes is because dying to yourself is not fun. Doing things that you don't feel like doing is not fun or ideal, and it's not promoted in today's culture. So we just have to give a big old bow and a big old thank you to God for prioritizing the things that He knew that we would need to live the life that we want to live versus the things that we want in the moment. And I think that is really what separates the good from the great, the normal from the elite when it comes to sports, when it comes to life, is who you are outside of the thing that you're doing, how you position yourself for life when you're not in the space that you're having to do things that are required of you. Because it's so easy to just be like, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, and you look up and it's been 20 years of you just doing it and you've got nothing out of it. My faith has given me the perspective on sport and on discipline that when I got to college, I looked at what I was doing and I said, hey, I'm gonna be doing this thing for X amount of years, and I'm gonna be doing this thing playing volleyball while also getting my degree. And so I'm gonna let this thing that's gonna dictate most of my life right now also tell me what I need to get better at, so that by the time I'm done with this thing, I'm 10 steps ahead of where most of my peers are when I'm done. And not only because I want to be 10 steps ahead of my peers, but because I want to be better. And I think that's another thing that we don't think about or talk about. Like, most athletes aren't elite because they really don't have a desire to be great, because it's not promoted in our culture, but that's a whole nother talk and spiel that we are not gonna get into right now. Anyways, that is my what it takes to be an elite Division I athlete. That is my take on it. That is what I give to you. That's a little insight into my brain, into my perspective, and into how I think about athletics as a whole, and also like an insight into my experience and what I've seen and what I've done versus what I've seen and what I don't do. You know what I'm saying? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it was helpful to you. I hope that it gave you something to think about at the least. I would love to keep having this conversation. I can't wait to do more athletics centered videos on this channel. I'm very much looking forward to it. And that's all I have to say. Love you so much. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.